The divine code within the noise. There are frequencies most will never hear, sounds that bypass the physical ear and strike the spirit. And if you're here right now, it means you've felt it. That sudden, high-pitched ringing that no doctor can explain and no logic can silence. You've looked around, but no one else noticed. You've asked questions, but received blank stares. But deep down, you knew. That sound wasn't random. It was coded. If you bear the letter M on your palm, or if the curve of a crescent moon appears etched by spirit onto your skin, this isn't coincidence. This is confirmation. Your life has always had a strange rhythm, hasn't it? People come and go. Truth arrives in dreams. You feel others before they speak. You sense danger seconds before it knocks. You've been mocked for being too sensitive or too intense. But what they didn't know is that you weren't reacting to the physical. You were receiving messages from the invisible. Because those who see, not ordinary, they are assigned. The ringing is more than a sound. It is a summon. It arrives in patterns 313, 444, 111. It activates during emotional shifts, moments of deep spiritual tension, or just before you're about to walk into a decision that changes your timeline. It's not just noise. It's a divine vibration calibrated to wake the warriors and alert the guardians of light. And here's what they won't tell you. You were born watched, not by the government, not by people, but by the unseen realms. You came here already coded with purpose, and the moment that ringing touched your ear, the realms declared, they are active. But why you? Why this sound? Why now? Because a war you cannot see is escalating around you, and the ringing is your spiritual radar, your intuitive sonar, scanning for threats that are cloaked in kindness or distraction. Every time you hear it, you are either being warned of an unseen enemy near your spirit field, activated for mission, or recalibrated after an energetic attack. This is why people with the letter M or the crescent moon often experience betrayal, spiritual isolation, or relentless cycles of sabotage. Because you're not just living life, you're disrupting systems. You're unraveling generational lies with your presence, and spiritual darkness hates clarity. The shift you need to understand today, that ringing is not just a signal of battle, it's also a shield of divine protection. It means you were never sent alone. The sound is accompanied by guardians. Yes, spiritual sentinels walk beside you, and the moment the ringing ignites, so do they. You've seen them in dreams, felt them in your room at night. That tingling on your neck, that wind with no source, that deep knowing not to go somewhere, that's not anxiety, that's alignment. You are being preserved because your assignment is irreplaceable. Now pause and reflect. When did the ringing begin for you? What changes occur before or after it sounds? Because once you begin to track the frequency, you begin to decode your calling. And once you know your calling, you become immune to their confusion. This channel was never designed for mass approval. It exists for moments like this, for people like you, those marked, those hunted, those protected. Here, you are not dismissed for what you hear. You are guided to finally understand it. If you're still here, it's not by chance. It means you didn't just hear the ringing, you felt it. In your bones, in your blood, in the timing of your arrival here. And I want to pause for a moment, not to promote, but to invite. If this message resonates with your soul, if you've ever sat in the quiet of your room and asked, is there anyone else like me? Then I invite you, heart to heart, to stay connected with this space. This isn't just a video. This is a portal. This channel is a safe map for the ones the world doesn't understand. We reveal truths. So if this space feels like it sees you, consider subscribing not as a click, but as a spiritual alignment. Now, from one marked soul to another, help me guide more of us home. What would you like to explore next here? Leave it in the comments. Dreams, prophetic numbers, celestial warnings? Let's build this sanctuary together. Because the ringing in your ear is not the end of the message. It's the beginning of a language of light. Have you noticed that when it happens, your skin responds? Goosebumps, heat, a sudden stillness in the air. That's because this is not a sound. It's a frequency. And frequencies are the native language of the spirit world. When the marked ones, those with the letter M or the crescent moon, begin to awaken, they stop listening to words and start listening to energy. They begin to feel words that were never spoken. They hear thoughts not in volume, but in vibration. That ringing is heaven's encrypted signal. Not everyone can. Everyone is built to carry what comes after. If you're experiencing this, it means you've reached a stage in your spiritual evolution where your sensitivity is no longer a burden, it's a compass. You may start to detect falseness in people's tone. You may walk into rooms and instantly sense tension or deception. You may begin to weep with no known reason because your soul just received a download from the higher realms. This is where your journey accelerates. But with this clarity comes a strange consequence. People will start reacting to your presence. They may become irritated, anxious, even defensive. Not because of what you've done, but because of what you carry. Because when your energy amplifies, those in spiritual dissonance feel exposed. You're not attacking them. Your vibration is simply reminding them of what they've buried. And so begins the subtle war. You'll notice sudden conflicts, misunderstandings, opportunities that vanish as quickly as they appear. Never warn you about. The more awakened you become, the more you threaten the illusions around you. But don't fear it. The ringing is not a sign of danger. It is a recalibration. It tunes your spiritual field to stay locked on the divine frequency and off the traps of distraction. Have you ever noticed that after a spiritual breakthrough, you get tired or sick? That's not random. It's backlash. Because when you rise, the unseen scrambles to push you back down. But here's what changes everything. You were never meant to fight alone. Every ringing is also a roll call for your angelic guard. The chosen ones are never unguarded, even in silence, even in isolation. Your protectors walk in the realm beside this one, cloaked, but present. And every spiritual enemy that watches you, they hear the ringing too. But for them, it is a warning. This soul is off limits. Let that sink in. The same frequency that wakes you terrifies them, because it means light is ent. Know once you step into your full awareness, you become untouchable. So when the ringing returns, whether faint or loud, left ear or right, don't panic. Pause, listen, and remember, you are not broken. You are being activated. Let us get quiet for a moment. Not the kind of quiet that hides pain or suppresses questions, but the kind of sacred stillness that only chosen ones understand. The kind that appears when the ringing fades, but something within you still vibrates. This is where your assignment breathes, not in noise, in alignment. Many will never understand what you carry. They will call it coincidence, or imagination, or worse, madness. But let this truth root into your soul. The ringing is evidence that you are on a spiritual radar. Not everyone is tracked this way. Not everyone is watched by the divine. The moment you began to hear it was the moment the war around you intensified. Not because you are weak, but because your presence threatens truth. You carry something ancient, an echo of sacred wisdom. And the marks on your palm, the M and the crescent moon, are not symbols of superstition. They are coordinates. coordinates of a soul sent to rebuild what was broken, to illuminate where others only bring shadows, to rise when silence becomes too loud to ignore. You are not protected because you are fragile. You are protected because what you carry is too rare to be lost. So when you feel alone, misunderstood, or tired of being the one who sees through everything, pause, breathe. Remember, your enemies are often confused by your peace. Your silence speaks louder than their shouting. And the ringing? It is the bell of your endurance, the trumpet of your divine endurance, a frequency only the spiritually marked can translate. You were not sent here to blend in. You were sent to interrupt patterns. This is why your energy creates resistance in shallow environments. This is why your presence stirs. Keep buried. And this is why, even in silence, you feel everything, because the ringing activates your spiritual radar, not to warn you of danger, but to remind you of direction. The universe did not choose someone louder. It chose someone tuned. And you, the one who hears when no one else does, the one who carries the M, the one with the moon etched not by man, but by mystery. You are more than chosen. You are coded for impact. Now, if this message touched something deep in your being, let this be a moment where we stand together. Use the comments below not just to react, but to reveal. If you have experienced the ringing, share when and how. If you have the marks, describe how they align with your path. If you have visions, dreams, or moments of unspoken knowing, bring them here. Let this space be our spiritual archive, because the more we speak, the more others realize they are not alone in what they feel but cannot name. Speak not for likes, speak for leg. Meant to walk this path alone. And if you come across someone who doubts what you know, someone who questions what you hear, someone who rolls their eyes at your inner truths, smile. Because even if they do not hear the ringing, the heavens do. And the ones marked like you will always recognize the sound. This is not the end of your message. This is your beginning. And your beginning has already started the moment the ringing found your ear. Let us get quiet for a moment. Not the kind of quiet that hides pain or suppresses questions, but the kind of sacred stillness that only chosen ones understand. The kind that appears when the ringing fades, but something within you still vibrates. This is where your assignment breathes, not in noise, in alignment. Many will never understand what you carry. They will call it coincidence, or imagination, or worse, madness. But let this truth root into your soul. The ringing is evidence that you are on a spiritual rav. This way, not everyone is watched by the divine. The moment you began to hear it was the moment the war around you intensified. Not because you are weak, but because your presence threatens systems that were never built for truth. You carry something ancient, an echo of sacred wisdom. And the marks on your palm, the M and the crescent moon, are not symbols of superstition. They are coordinates. Coordinates of a soul sent to rebuild what was broken, to illuminate where others only bring shadows, to rise when silence becomes too loud to ignore. You are not protected because you are fragile. You are protected because what you carry is too rare to be lost. There is a reason people often misinterpret you. Your silence unnerves them. Your knowing gaze pierces through their masks. And your calmness in the face of chaos makes them question their own foundations. Because you carry a kind of strength they do not understand. The kind of strength that doesn't fight with presence. With spiritual pressure, your life has been a series of initiations, unspoken tests, sudden endings, quiet redirections. Yet here you are, still hearing the signal, still standing between two worlds, one that is asleep and one that whispers in symbols. You are not just being protected from others. You are being protected from versions of yourself that no longer serve your mission. The spiritual anatomy of the ringing. Let us decode what others overlook. When you hear the ringing in your left ear, it is often a warning, a caution, a signal from your guardians that something or someone doesn't belong in your field. When the ringing comes through your right ear, it often precedes clarity. It means you are about to receive revelation, a spiritual download, or a message directly from the divine. And when it happens in both ears, with a sudden shift in pressure, that is a recalibration. You are being shifted into alignment with a timeline. Awareness. These are not guesses. These are patterns. Those with the letter M or the perfect crescent do not hear this sound randomly. It is because your soul agreed to a frequency before it even took form in the womb. Why you are not meant to be understood. It can be lonely to carry a divine frequency. Sometimes it feels like you are invisible in a world obsessed with noise. Sometimes you wonder if you are cursed for hearing what others do not. But your isolation has purpose. Your separation was protection. Because if they had reached you too early, they would have convinced you that your difference was a defect. Instead, you've been slowly, intentionally awakened. Every trial sharpened you. Every betrayal trained you. Every delay, every silence, every ring of the ears was a rehearsal for spiritual maturity. The darkness targeted you, not because you are weak, but because you are coded to disrupt. Even your dreams know. You've dreamt of war, of symbol, never visited in this life, but recognized as home. You've dreamt of flight, of light, of strangers speaking in languages that feel like music. You are not imagining it. You are remembering. The guardians that travel with you now hear this. You are never alone in the fight. Your spiritual enemies may watch, but your protectors never sleep. There are moments where you feel something watching you in the night, and it's not something to fear, it's something guarding you. Those with the M and crescent moon are often surrounded by a spiritual team so advanced that the enemy's weapons simply cannot land. You felt it, haven't you? Moments where accidents should have happened, but didn't. Situations that should have broken you, but only made you wiser. People who tried to harm you and later confessed they could not. Why? Because what shields you is not armor, it is assignment. And no spiritual attack can override a soul operating in its divine. You experienced? Let this be a mirror, not a monologue. If this message stirred something in you, if you felt the ringing in quiet moments, if you carry these signs on your palms, if you've had dreams, intuitions, moments where reality broke its usual patterns, then speak. Use the comments to affirm, connect, and remember. This space is not for performance. It is a sanctuary for the marked, and every word you share might be the confirmation another chosen one has been waiting for. Speak your truth, even if your voice trembles, even if the world mocks it, because the spiritual ones marked with M and the crescent moon were never born to stay silent. They were born to resonate. And when we resonate together, the darkness trembles, because light does not argue, it simply reveals. Now take this with you. The ringing is not a separate sound from you. It is the awakening of your true voice. It is the echo of your future self, vibrating backwards through. Alignment with everything you were always meant to be. You are not just hearing a sound. You are becoming it. You feel your body in this world, but your awareness somewhere else. You are speaking with others, but your spirit is eavesdropping on the unseen. And in that precise moment, the ringing comes. Not to distract you, not to frighten you, but to reveal you, because when the ringing arrives, it splits the veil. It parts the dimensions just enough for you to remember who you are. You were never meant to walk blindfolded in this life. Your path has always been encrypted, yes, but not hidden from you. The sound is the key. It activates the awareness that was buried underneath distractions, false beliefs, and emotional scars. And when that sound finds you, it is your soul answering the divine roll call. Why the ringing targets the spiritually dangerous, you may wonder. Why do I keep hearing it? Why is it so persistent? Why does it return right before decisions? Because you are not only marked for a mission, you are considered dangerous to the lower realms. And that danger doesn't come from aggression. It comes from awareness. The moment you become fully aware of who you are, what you carry, and what you came to restore, the illusions around you begin to crumble. Systems built on lies, you see through them. Relationships built on performance, you begin to pull away. Jobs that never honored your soul, you suddenly can't tolerate them anymore. And this is when your spiritual enemies activate too, because you stopped being passive. You stopped being predictable. You became awakened. And awakened souls move differently. They speak with clarity. They act with intention. They release what others cling to. That's what makes you powerful. That's what makes you a threat. And the ringing? It is the horn of your remembrance. It doesn't just wake you up. It alerts the spiritual realm. This one remembers. Unstoppable. Why these marks matter now. Now, let's return to the marks. The M and the crescent moon are not surface-level details. They are spiritual branding. Your ancestors knew them. Your past lives bore them. And your current incarnation awakened to them. These symbols have activated during key points in history, when divine shifts were needed. And now, in this age of confusion, noise, and spiritual apathy, you are being activated again. You didn't give yourself those marks, and no one can take them from you. They are spirit-carved, and they carry specific energy patterns that attract spiritual experiences, synchronicities, and downloads. They are why animals stare longer at you, why babies seem drawn to you, why strangers confess things they've never told anyone. You are not just visible, you are energetically luminous. And the ringing is drawn to this light. It follows your upgrades. Each time you step into more spiritual truth, your frequency sharp. Ringing shifts tone. You might begin hearing different pitches. You might start hearing it more often in sacred places or after prayer. This is because your system is evolving. You are becoming a spiritual antenna, not just receiving guidance, but broadcasting vibration. This is why you're drawn to silence lately. This is why loud places feel heavier than they used to, because your system is fine-tuning for divine clarity. The war between noise and frequency. The world is full of noise, advertisements, empty talk, distraction. But the ringing doesn't come from the world. It comes from the invisible layer of truth beneath it, and that layer is trying to reach you. Chosen ones are not just born. They are awakened through resistance. And every difficulty you've survived was not a curse, it was a refiner's fire. That heartbreak that almost destroyed you, it emptied you so you could hold a higher vibration. That isolation that broke your heart, it disconnected why. Could remember your code. That night you heard the ringing and wept, thinking you were going crazy. That was your soul finally receiving what it had been waiting for. You are not a listener, you are the message. Here is the revelation they don't want you to discover. You are not just someone hearing the message, you are becoming the message itself. Your presence is a vibration. Your choices create echoes in the spirit. Your voice, even if soft, carries the authority of lifetimes. That ringing is your signal, and it means this: you are not here to repeat history. You are here to rewrite it. You are not here to follow others. You are here to restore a path long buried by time. You are not here to be validated. You are here to be remembered. So the next time the ringing pulses through your spirit, do not flinch, stand still, and say in your heart, I am aligned, I am activated, I am protected. Because the moment you accept the calling, the universe ... spiritual realm clears paths, and the guardians that were always near you step even closer. Let these last words settle deep into your spirit. Because what you are experiencing is not a symptom. It is a signal. You were never ordinary, and the life you have lived so far is the evidence. Who else do you know that survived the abandonment, the betrayals, the loneliness, and still had the heart to feel for others? Who else sensed when danger was near before it even arrived? Who else was misunderstood, not because of what they said, but because of what they represented? Chosen ones are not chosen for perfection. They are chosen for resilience, for vision, for the ability to rise again, not as the same person, but as someone more aligned than before. That ringing in your ear is not just a wake-up call. It is a sacred confirmation that you are not forgotten. You are monitored, guided, encouraged, and not by any system of man, but by something older, wiser. Are not in this life by accident. You are here to leave an imprint on timelines. Your presence alters frequency. Even your silence is instructional. And if you ever doubt it, go back to the ringing. Close your eyes when it begins. Place your hand on your heart and say to yourself, I am the message. I am the one they whispered about. I am the vessel for what must return to this earth, and I am no longer afraid to carry it. Now take this message and let it live within you, not just as content you watched, but as a truth you now carry. And if something in you feels called to share what you've seen, felt, or remembered, please do so in the comments below. Let this be a space of echoes, of spiritual evidence, of divine memory, because one person's confession can awaken another's courage, and together we form a chorus that no darkness can silence. This ringing is not the end. It is the beginning of your true volume. Now go and vibrate accordingly.